Welcome to Mind Your Wedding Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kevin Dennis. In addition to leading the charge at Wedding IQ, I also run Fantasy Sound Event Services, a lighting and entertainment company based in Livermore, California, that I founded over 35 years ago. Each week on this podcast, you'll hear thought-provoking and empowering interviews with wedding professionals who have found success in the industry. If you're a business-minded wedding pro who loves love, but also cares about their bottom line, buckle up and get ready to learn from a new industry expert each week. All right. Welcome to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. We have the one and only Terrica with us today. I'm really excited that she's here. So, Terrica, as we jump in, we always let our guests tell us a little bit about themselves and how we got here today. So, how did we get Terrica here?
How did we get here? Well, everything that the nuns in high school said is true, as is everything you read on the bathroom stall. It's all true, all very true. No, I'm just kidding. I am a wedding planner and designer down in coastal Georgia. I lovingly call it the armpit of Georgia, but it's really not. You and I were just talking about going on long walks on the beach. Not together, everybody.
No.
We both love to do. So where I live, there are 3 gorgeous islands right off the coast of Georgia.
Oh,
so
awesome.
I'm 7 minutes away. And whenever I need a reset, I'm always headed over there to the beach. So that being said, I am a destination wedding planner. Majority of my clients come to me for their events. So that's a huge dynamic. And I started my business never having gone to a wedding, never been in a wedding, never even had a wedding myself. So I was uprooted from Baltimore down to coastal Georgia, decided I wasn't going to be an attorney anymore. I was going to be a wedding planner. So you can imagine parents' joy. Hey, guys, not going to be Johnny Cochran anymore. Going to be J-Lo, right? But you know what, Kevin? I'm so happy. I love what I do. It's been 20 years. The past, I want to say, it'll be 8 years. Wow, 8 years this year. I've been speaking and in coaching as well. So this has just been an amazing go round for me. I absolutely love what I do. I still do the occasional wedding, but I absolutely love where I'm at now. And that's just helping wedding pros really figure out how to make their businesses tick and how to stay alive when our industry can be quite insane sometimes.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before we got on. So it is insane. It's even with that bad word that we all, we're all, I feel like even though we're 5 outs, we just celebrated 5 years of being, out of COVID. I still feel we're feeling the effects, of it. So
I totally agree. I don't feel like we're quote unquote yet.
No. Yeah. Like even though people keep saying we are just to make themselves feel better. So
to make themselves feel better. Like, baby, go to therapy and get well soon. We are not that. we are not that at all.
No, we are far from being back. So, all right. So, Terrica, we are here to talk about identifying your ideal client and knowing your ideal client or who your ideal client is and what's their cheat code to get them to book and pay you. So, all right. So let's start it off. Can you explain what an ideal client is and how can someone identify that person?
Sure. It is the person that does 2 things. They check 2 boxes. One, you enjoy working with them or you're super excited about their event. So it could very well be you don't really enjoy working with a specific client, but it may be the venue, the vision that they have that makes them ideal for you. Likewise, it could be the alternative as well. Whereas maybe the vision isn't necessarily there. Maybe the budget isn't there to pull off the vision, but you love working with this client. Your personalities mesh, your work styles mesh, your communication styles mesh. And I feel like you need both types of those clients. One, to keep your creativity very engaged, and the other one to keep your personal aspect of it engaged as well, because the clients that don't have the big vision, the big budget, et cetera, they make you a better pro because they teach you how to communicate. They teach you how to work. They teach you how to really make sure that your checks and balances and your systems work for when you do get those big visions, because I feel like the big vision events, they're just theories, right? Because we're always striving to do things that we haven't done before in places we haven't done before with people that we haven't done it with. And it's just a theory. We need those processes to back up making sure that we can make all of that happen. So those are definitely the two. Either the vision is there or the personality match is definitely there. Now, that is totally different from who's in your market. Sometimes your ideal client does not exist in your market. So you have to ask yourself two very important questions. One, do I want to go outside of my market to work with my ideal client? That may mean an hour commute both ways. It may mean 2 hours. It may mean working in a totally different city or state. Or do I want to work with the market that I have and serve them as best as I can with what it is that I'm willing to give them? So it may be that the market that you're in can only afford a certain amount of service or a certain level of service. So you're going to serve them to the best of your capacity. And that's going to fill your bank account, right? And then the other one is going to fill your heart. It's going to fill your creativity. It's going to really fill your passions.
Yeah, it's amazing that you said that because the whole time. So I'm in, California. I'm in Northern California. I'm 45 minutes east of San Francisco. So obviously, bigger weddings in San Francisco, bigger weddings. The bigger weddings are really in Napa in my market. But where I am, we have a small little wine country. So we're like the mini version of Napa. We do get a handful of the big budget weddings, but not every wedding is like a Napa wedding. But there's so many people that you say, like, there's people in my market that drive up because they want those bigger budgets up in Napa, but then like reverse everything. So Sacramento is like an hour and a half north of us. There is a lot of like videographers, planners, even, photographers that all come down to our market because this is bigger than their market. So it's funny to me when you said that. I never ever really thought about it that way until you just said it. So you gotta, it's like you gotta find your cheese. Like you can go and
Absolutely.
yeah. What's
Absolutely.
gonna work for
Because
you?
when you think about it, Kevin, when you write that check out to your mortgage company in the memo line, you're not putting proceeds were paid by a wedding I was really in love with, right? They don't care where you get your money from at all. So while I do feel like wedding pros do need to care where they get their money from, because not all money is good money. Not everybody with the ring, a promise, a wedding website is going to be your client. However, if you are getting asked constantly for a specific thing, that is market demand. And if you are passing that over and then saying, well, just not working, I don't know what it is, you're not answering the emails. That's you are turning work away. And you can absolutely have tiered brands. I'm a huge fan of tiered brands because I feel like, like luxury is the big thing right now. Everybody's talking about, I want to be luxury. I want to be high end. And I'm like, that's very subjective. What does that mean to you? Because all things being equal, a wedding period is a luxury because you can take your tail right on down to the courthouse, get you a license, justice of the peace, and go about your business. Anything over that is a luxury, right? But if you think about serving the people in your market and then serving at a higher level, that may require that you have a tiered brand. One example that I give all the time is Vera Wang. Absolutely love Vera Wang. I don't know what fountain of youth she's swimming in right now, if she's a vampire or what, but homegirl is 70 years old and she is still killing the game.
She's 70?
Right? She's over 70. If she's not 70, she's a little bit over.
I have an autographed book. I had no idea.
Please bite
Mind
me.
blown.
Please bite me. Take my life. Just take me, Vera, please. But, she has so many gorgeous gowns. She was the staple back in the early 2000s for that very classic, gorgeous look. And she did not let up. We watch her runway shows and we're still in love. But then you can go to Kohl's and you can get a pair of Vera Wang jeans. You can get a pair of Vera Wang shoes. So it's like she's serving people at different levels. And there is an amazing book called Let Them Eat Cake by, I think it's Tabitha Danziger, I think. And one thing she says is you can bring luxury to the classes or to the masses. When you understand that your client can exist in two totally different realms, whether again, it's the vision or it's the budget or the market demand, you can open up so many more opportunities to make money and really make a name for yourself.
Yeah. And it's another thing that just came to mind when you said that. I think there's even weddings out there that they may stretch for that high end photographer, but yet everything else is a little bit more, because to them, the photos are important. You know what I'm saying? So like every client
Exactly.
is something's more important to them than the other, and they're going to stretch and go crazy on something because to them it's important, or even a family
Correct.
member one. Yeah, yeah.
You have to know what's important to your clients, what lights them up, right? Because if they're like, cake isn't really a big deal for me, we're just going to do mini pies or mini desserts. And for me, that hurts my soul every single time because I'm such a cake person. And I'm like, well, somebody's got to get me a slice of cake. I've literally had clients know that I love cake so much that they will bring me a slice of cake on their wedding day because they're like, we're not
That's
having cake, but
awesome.
we want you to have a piece of cake. But you have to understand what's important to your clients because, again, if you are chasing a specific type of client, but decor is not important to them, photography
Mhm.
is, food is, or entertainment is, that doesn't make them wrong. It just doesn't make them the right client for you because you're not going to get what you want out of it. Whether you're a designer, you're a florist, or you're a planner looking for those really great detailed photos, you may not get that at all. Another thing to understand too is when you know where their focus is, when you know where their hierarchy of needs are when they're wedding planning, that's going to help you reframe this whole budget thing. Because people will say, oh my gosh, they had, a 6-figure budget. But if all of that's going to the band, if all of that's going to the venue, and we pretty much look like we went venue poor, or we went band poor, or DJ
Yeah,
poor, or
yeah.
photographer poor, is it really luxury? You know what I mean?
No.
Is it really, if it's not luxury all the way around, if it's not that detailed experience all the way around, then there's an issue as well. So that's why I feel like people are like, oh, you don't need to do ideal client workbooks or avatars. I'm like, well, how do you know who it is that you want to work with? How do you know how you can best serve them? How do you know who to market to when you're creating your ads, when you're creating your creatives or your copy? How do you know what to say, what to put up, what image to use, what video to use when you're just talking to everybody? And when you're talking to everybody, honestly, you're talking to nobody, to be completely honest with you. Nobody's going to resonate with what you're saying because it's so fluid, it is so generic. Nobody thinks that you're talking directly to them. And that's going to be a huge issue.
Yeah, well, and as someone that was talking to everybody when I started my business, you know what I'm saying? So
Right,
I'm
we
old.
all.
Yeah, but I mean, I've been literally I've had Fantasy Sound for 36 years. So, which is my main business.
Congratulations. That's
Thank you.
amazing.
I'm old. So I started out as a DJ, but like back in the day, someone would go, I would say, you know what? Well, it's $400 to do the school dance, and the school would come back. Well, we can only pay 200. Okay, because I wanted to do it.
Hmm.
It was more about me
Right,
wanting to
right, right.
just getting out there, and I just kept. It was me. I was more about. I had 5, 6 gigs this week, and I was the more the merrier. But meanwhile, if I would have took one good one, I would have worked. You know what I'm saying? It took me a
Exactly.
long
Exactly.
it took me probably about 7, 8 years to realize that I'm killing myself for no money. And then I had to start
Hmm.
reevaluating and coming up and trying to identify my ideal client and sticking to my values and like I'm not gonna let people tell me how much they're gonna pay me. I started going with this is how much it costs, and sorry, you don't have the money. Okay, move on, kind of thing. So you
Correct.
know, so how
So,
often?
so correct.
Yeah. No, it's just the more you say it, I'm like, man, I was an idiot. Well, I mean, a lot of
No,
people
no,
start off
you
there.
weren't. You were growing. You didn't
Yeah.
know. You don't know what you don't know. You know what I mean? And at that time, whenever we're getting started, that's our baseline. That's our litmus test of success. Is how booked we are, right?
Hmm.
So if we're constantly working, then we're doing something right. Even if we're like, oh, that some money is better than no money mentality, but that's not always the case at
Mm-mm.
all. And I ask people now as a coach and as a speaker, do you want to be booked or do you want to be broke? But I can't have you being both. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So we
Yeah.
absolutely have to get all of your systems in place. We have to get everything in order because that's another thing too. When you don't know what your ideal client is or who they are, how you can best communicate with them and how you can work with them. You're just piecemealing everything together. You don't know if your systems are going to work great for them. You don't know if your services are going to appeal to them at all. So you're just making a hodgepodge of things, probably based on what other people are doing and what you see other people are selling or what other people are saying they're booking. And it's not serving you. It's not serving you at all.
Yeah. And then are you then when you're that way, are you even serving your clients? You got to think
Right.
about it. Yeah, both ways. So, all right. So how often, as we grow, into our businesses, how often should we be reevaluating who our ideal client is? Like, how often
Every
does that process?
season.
Every season. Okay.
Every single season, you need to be reviewing your systems and your processes, your workflows. You need to be reviewing your vendor lists. You need to be
Mm.
reviewing your ideal client, and you need to be reviewing your pricing every single season because things change. A few of us are lucky enough to have legacy clients, but for a majority of us, we're a one and done type of thing. What lasts for us are, our relationships within our network, the venues that we work at, the services that we provide, and then the pricing that's either going to put us at a different tier or within a different market as well. But our clients are always going to change. And like even now, we see that Gen Z is coming. They're one of the most diverse generations that are coming up. They've always had technology. There is so much that they are bringing to the table, from the way that they research to the way that they shop to the way that they plan. Totally different from a millennial, totally different from Gen X, totally different from the boomers. So yes, you need to be reevaluating and checking every season to see if what I'm doing is working.
We just had Tom out from the Knot. I'm sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So he spoke at our little networking group that we have here locally, and he said if you continue to do business the way you always have, 2 years from now you're going to be out of business.
Correct.
And you just kind of again reevaluated that. If you got to continue to adapt, and if you don't, you're going to be gone. Because you
Absolutely.
can't. And there's someone in my market that's like, this is how I do it, and they're going to just learn to do it. And I'm like, you're not going to be booked. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you can't,
Good luck.
you can't.
Good luck to
Yeah.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Good
you
luck
can't
to
go on
you. You're definitely
reputation
going to be
alone.
on. No, you can't, because you know why? That doesn't matter to them as much
Mm-mm.
anymore. These upcoming couples, that doesn't matter. I can remember moving down to my area and everything was based on reputation and not just who you knew, but who knew you. So because
Mm-hmm.
everybody was leaning on their parents' referrals, their grandparents' referrals, who they knew or whatever. So that's why I honestly stopped trying to work within my local market, because it seemed like that was just on lock. And as an outsider trying to come in and penetrate this force field, it was just exhausting. So what I did is I just appealed to all of the people who were coming into the area to have a destination wedding. And then that's how I became the guru of doing everything here and knowing how to pull it off, no matter what it was that you wanted. If you wanted a contemporary style wedding, if you wanted an exotic style, if you wanted something super romantic, we could absolutely make that happen. Because again, all of my clients were worldwide. They were coming across the world. I wasn't speaking to just one particular market that was here. So that's why I say that our style is metropolitan chic and Southern
Mm.
charm. So I know exactly who it is that I'm talking to and who it is that I want to cater to.
And Southern charm, you can't beat that, right? Especially I feel like the White Lotus is going to bring us a lot of Southern charm right now.
Oh my God. So
Did you?
I've never seen an episode. I
Okay.
promised Lynn Stevens that I was going to start it this weekend, and I did not get a chance because I fell into a rabbit hole of another TV show. But I'm
Okay.
definitely starting it this week.
Well, it would be a good time to start because you could start from the first season and work your way all the way through because it just ended. And
Yesterday was the finale, right? The season finale.
Oh yeah, my wife and I had a glass of wine and we were sitting there, we were glued because there were so many questions that needed to be answered by that thing. So anyway,
so Kevin, let me ask you this. Now, you know that we were just in at the Fairmont Mayakoba. Everybody was saying that where we were reminded them of White Lotus. Is that true? Am I going to get
vibes? Yeah, you will get a little bit of vibes of White Lotus. Yes, it's funny because I heard the same thing from multiple people. It's like how we were in little bungalow, like there was like 4 little rooms. Obviously in White Lotus, the rooms are like this season, the one in Thailand. This is the fanciest because they're all 4-season hotels. Is what they okay. So it's been my Italy was the last season, and then the original season was at the Four Seasons in Wailea on Maui. And so the room,
Wow.
so
Okay.
where the Four Seasons in my Wailea in Maui is a little bit more like hotel-y. This Thailand one, they were like they called them bungalows, but these things were like houses with like their own private pools. And it was like, and then when they would show the whole like the drone shot of the resort, it was like in a hill, and there were all these little, so yeah. So everyone's like, where are they going next? So I'm like, get out your four, get out your Four Seasons. Let's figure it out. Yeah. Anyway, no,
Love that.
but the Fairmont where we just were in Mayakoba had very, very the vibe with the water, the whole feel was very White Lotus. Yeah, because it just
Can't
when
wait.
I got there, we were probably a couple episodes in, and so I was like,
Okay.
and I think that's why everyone was just talking about it. So anyway,
Gotcha.
but anyway, there's a family on this season that is from it's one of the Carolinas, I forget, but they're close to Duke. So Raleigh, they're in Raleigh, and
Okay. Mm-hmm.
and they're very that Southern charm, and I just feel like that's going to be a thing this year, because obviously television, fashion, all
Yeah.
that drives what we do,
Mm-hmm.
and so you can't.
Absolutely.
So, all right. So you brought up something that I wanted to touch on is, the relationships and with vendors. Like, and I
Mm-hmm.
feel like that to me, sometimes I feel like I'm doing a luxury wedding. I'm working with everyone, like the planner I love, it's like,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like weddings sometimes, this is a poor analogy, but I'm like, it's like going to war and you want to go to war with all the soldiers that you love.
Correct.
Yeah. And you're like, we're all going to fight together and we all have each other's back, because it's always bad when you have
Correct.
that one bad apple with the vendor. So like building these relationships and having other people that are like-minded, is that a good way to do it?
Mhm.
Or like, how do we build this
Oh
vendor
my
list and
gosh,
have it,
yes.
and go crazy from it?
I think it's really important to find people who are passionate about what they do. And that kind of sounds like, of course, Terrica. But there are just some people who are just like banging out dates just because, they want to keep a booked count. They don't know. They're not keeping up with the client's details. They're not really trying to make it personal for them. And as a planner, when I can't say, hey guys, I'm so sorry we got this wrong. Meet me here tomorrow at 5 and we'll try it again. I need to make sure that everybody is on point. Everybody is
Hmm.
professional. Everybody is personal. Everybody is personable. You care that, the groom was just deployed and he's going to be deployed until 3 days until we get back. You understand that there's going to be certain moments that we need to get. You care that an aunt is sick and we have to make adjustments. You care that, somebody doesn't have a good relationship and we need to keep them separate to maintain the order of the day. So when people really care about other people, that for me, that's huge for me, because I know that if something goes wrong, if I have to make, I like to call plot twists throughout the day, that they're going to move with me, right? I don't like rigid vendors. I don't like vendors who cannot come together as a team. You call it going to war, which I absolutely love. I call it my team of Avengers. Everybody has their special superpower. My job is to make sure that everybody can perform to the best of their ability. And that if there is any overlap, that you're working together and you're in sync
Mm,
versus, you messing each other up, or somebody's trying to do your job. That's the worst thing. The worst thing is the person who's like, oh,
I
I'm not going to
agree.
do this. I'm not going to do that. Or the person who's like, I'm going to do everything, or I'm just going to get in the way. And it's like, please sit down before I get my tranquilizer dart and make you sit down. Please, 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 please. But there are just some vendors that I just don't get along with at all. I'll be completely honest with you.
No.
So what we do is I will see if it's a personality thing. Sometimes it is. And another member of my team will take that. Same thing with my team. I had a planner on my team who did not like working with a particular vendor. And I said, honey, no worries. I'll take care of it. I won't put you on any more events with this person. I'll handle this or whatever, so that we can really see, is this a personality issue or is this a process issue? That's for sure. Because again, I can't recreate the day. And it's
No.
totally fine if our processes don't mesh up, but you're not going to mess up my day. You're not going to mess up everybody else's day. You're not going to mess this up because you don't have your stuff together, or you're so disorganized, or you're not a great communicator. You don't know how to talk to people. And also, that's why on our contact form, we ask, who's on your dream team list of vendors? Because I need to know before I even talk to you who it is that you're considering, because that's going to be another thing that's going to let me know the type of client that you are. And I have no problem saying we're not available or ourselves just don't mesh. And it's very important for us that you have the wedding that you want. So since you've booked this person, we're going to have to decline. Or I've had some people say, oh, no, don't worry about it. We would rather have you than them. And that makes me feel good.
No, it does. It does.
Mm-hmm.
No, I've had similar, and I think, and it's funny, I joke that, I've done this long enough and I'm not that, where I'm old and I only pick who I want to work with. It's just like, I try to give everyone the benefit of the doubt, but if you can't fix stupid and you can't fix, I'm constantly late or I'm going to go rogue. The worst I have is, the planner works really hard, puts together this amazing timeline, and all we have to do is just keep checking down the list and everything's going to go perfectly. And then all of a sudden you get someone that goes rogue, that throws the whole thing out of alignment.
Everything off. Everything.
Yeah.
Off. So they can be the superstar. And I'm like, you'll never be the star here. The bride is the star. The groom is the star. The couple is the star. No matter what type of participant, no matter what type of event it is, the client is always the star. Always.
Yeah, I'm always, and I can't tell you how many times I've said, we're on team couple. We're here for the couple. We're here. This is their day. Yeah. It doesn't matter what I like. It doesn't matter what you like. It doesn't matter, you name it. It doesn't matter because we're here for them today. And we got to remember that. And it's just so frustrating. So there are people in my market.
That's a huge value for me that, I tell my clients, I don't care how much money you spend on your wedding, because two things, it's your wedding, and two, I'm still going to get paid. So I mean, it does not matter. Like, again, my mortgage company is not calling me to ask if I love the wedding that I just did.
Yeah.
Now, some will never make it to Instagram. Some absolutely will make it to Instagram, right? But I don't care about how much money that they spend. But what's very important to me is that they get the wedding that they want. So I'm very protective of my clients to make sure that nobody is steamrolling them, whether that's family, whether it's vendors, to make them do things that they don't want to do, or that makes them deviate from things that they did want to do. Because again, like we just talked about, you have somebody that wants to be a star. They want to be the leader. And I'm like, this is not your audition. This is not your turn. If you want this for your wedding, go get married again. Go have another wedding. But this is not about you at all. And I find that the older that I get, the more I say that out loud, or my face absolutely says that. So yeah, that's something that I'm trying to work on with my esthetician, with getting more Botox in my face to ensure that.
I've been told I have a little bit of David from Schitt's Creek in me with the facial expressions that I should probably do the same. Yeah. I get a little, like what? Well,
like, we're doing what?
Yeah. What are we trying to do? And
what are we doing here?
Yeah. Yeah, and it's just, I just say it just, I feel like finding it's the relationships is really what it comes down to, because even if you're not working on a wedding, someone can call me last minute and say, hey, I need help. And you're going to go help them because you have a relationship with them. So
absolutely. And if the tables were turned, they would absolutely do the same
help you
for you. Yeah. We had one of the biggest weddings last year, and there were just so many variables involved. There were so many vendors involved. And if any of you are familiar with where I live, we were having this wedding on Jekyll Island, where it's pretty much the Newport of the South. So it's where all of your Gilded Age families would come and summer. And so they have vacation homes there. And now their vacation homes are venues. They're historic properties that are owned by the state. So you can get married where the Rockefellers vacationed, or where the Tiffany's, the Comforts, all of those people are there. But it's gorgeous spaces where there's just nothing there. So we were literally building this event from the ground up with tents, lighting, generators, mobile kitchens, so many different things. And because there isn't a venue, there isn't a structure, we have to create that. And then what happens? One of the biggest hurricanes comes through this weekend, gives us no power for 3 days straight. And we're having a multicultural, multi-day event. Now, this wedding was a beast anyway, just for everything that we had to pull together. And I called one of my best friends, Fausto Piperer of Blue Elephant Events in Maine. And he's a master at everything. And I said, I just need you to sit down and just break my timeline. I need you to break my layouts. What am I not seeing? Because I need to make sure I have this right. And he cleared an hour for me. We sat on Zoom. He went through everything and he was like, well, do it like this. Or have you thought about this? And he was just giving me so much feedback of things that, yes, I knew, but it's okay, but I also have to do this as well. So you really need good people that have your back. And sometimes they're not going to be in your market. And that's going to be important for you to understand as well. But it's also super important to understand when you have to let a vendor go, because it's going to constantly impede your success and your growth and your ability to serve and produce well at an event. So I have no problem with that whatsoever, because also I say this too, and not everybody in your circle ain't always in your corner. I have worked with a lot of jealous vendors down here, vendors who have tried to sabotage events just because they wanted to be the star. And I just couldn't do it. And they would be like one of the most popular vendors here, the go-to for everybody. And I would be turning down a lot of money to say, no, I can't do that. But ultimately, I knew it was going to be more stressful for me, either in the planning process or in the production process, and it just would not be worth it.
Yeah, it's funny because one of the venues we work at all the time, there was a photographer. We're sitting around the table at the venue, having our dinner, and this photographer just bitched and moaned about the venue, how shitty the venue is. And finally, at one point, I looked at her. I go, "Why did you even take this gig? If you don't like how the lighting is and how did you," I go, "Why would," well, she goes, "Well, it's very popular." I said, "Well, but go find another venue that you like."
Go find another one.
And then the best part is then the venue coordinator, came to check on us, and this girl went from, "Oh," and then it was like, "Oh, Z, good to see you. Oh, how's everything?" Oh, and I was just like, and Z, she didn't realize that Z and I were like this, like we were tight. And I was like, "Girl," and Z's like, "Was that?" Z made a comment to me. I wasn't going to say anything unless Z said something to me. And then she goes, "Hey, that photographer is kind of a pain in the ass." And I go, "Oh, let me tell you."
Oh, girl, do I have something for you? Do I got some tea for you? Yes.
Yeah, but it was just, but I don't, if you don't like a venue, you don't like, like for us, we're in the Bay Area. We do not work in the city. We try to stay out of San Francisco. There's only about maybe 8 to 10 venues that we will even work at, because I am my warehouse to the other side of the Bay Bridge is 38 minutes. It's not far.
Ooh.
Traffic, 2.5, 3 hours sometimes. That
Minimum.
38 minutes. Yeah. And then, and then just parking and all that in the real congested downtown. You can't park a box truck, so you have to go park far away and then Uber back to the event.
You're giving me PTSD. Yeah, it's terrible.
You know what I'm saying?
So, is. Yeah.
Well, and that's how we decided we are not going to do it. We're not going to stress ourselves out. And we have a beautiful wine country here. There's Napa that we do, so we reevaluated it and not, so I think everyone needs to really take that to heart, because it's an ideal client, but also ideal venues and vendors and, everything.
Absolutely. And sometimes you just got to learn to bloom where you're planted, right? And if you know that you have so much friction with a particular venue, a particular vendor, I say this all the time, that I love data, that I don't call myself what I would like to call myself publicly, but just to give you a close grasp of what I'm trying to say, I would do some very sketchy and promiscuous things for data. Okay. Because data is amazing. There's so many answers in data.
Yeah.
So what I used to do is I used to go back and say, okay, you know what? Who have been all of my problem clients? that, who did I enjoy working with? Who did I not enjoy working with? And then what are the common denominators in each? Sometimes it was a budget. Sometimes it was a particular vendor. It was a particular venue. And I'm like, now I'm seeing what the issue is. And then when you just, needle down a little bit more, it's like, oh, well, we have been consistently having these same issues with this vendor, and it's spilling over into all of these events. So that's how we'll say, you know what, we're not going to do it anymore. And then we notice that there's a pattern with a certain type of clients that are booking these vendors that end up coming to us, and we just don't enjoy it. And I want to enjoy working your day. The one thing that I hate saying is that, we're showing up to the rehearsal on Friday. We're showing up to set up on Saturday morning, and like, God, I can't wait until it's Sunday. You know what I mean? Like, I just wish I could just wake up and it's Sunday. That's how you're really not going to enjoy it at all.
No, or you're striking, like for our team, it's like, thank God this one's over. Like we survived and it's over. And that's not a good, that's not a good place.
Feeling.
No, it really isn't, because, and like you said, it's just, you want to have the people around you that are not. And you said something that really stuck with me is you have your circle, but who's in your corner? Like I never thought about it that way. But yeah, you get people in your circle, and we do have people in our circle, but they're not always in your corner, and that's
correct.
Okay. So, all right, we're getting close to wrapping up, but I had a question that I wanted to ask that we don't cover. So say someone knows their ideal client, but all their leads do not align with that, what's coming in. What do they evaluate in terms of, like, is it the messaging, marketing, where do they go, to try to get that ideal client? Like, yeah.
Yeah, that's my answer. Yes.
Yes. They're doing it wrong.
Yes. Doing it wrong. Well, you're not doing it wrong. You're just not speaking the language. Right. And I think if you think about this as if we're traveling to a different country, we need to learn the language. If I went to Mexico, but I'm speaking Portuguese, there might be some similar words there where we might be able to make something happen, but we're not going to be able to communicate. We're not going to be able to celebrate. The same thing goes for your ideal client. So it's definitely a messaging. So what exactly is it that you're saying? You may be repelling your ideal client with some of your words. I always like to ask my clients how they describe their day, what they want their guests to feel. And whenever I see a common thread, then those are the words that I begin to put in my captions. Those are the words that I put in my emails. Those are the words that I want to make sure that are in my service magazine and on my website. The same thing for the imagery. If pictures are 1,000 words, then you know what? Your pictures are going to say a lot. So are your videos. So again, knowing that the type of generation that we're working with, we need to see some of the updated pictures. We need to see diverse pictures there. We need to see a change of different things. We don't want to pigeonhole them. So absolutely, it's going to be a messaging problem, and it's going to be a marketing problem. If you are singing the most beautiful song to an empty room, it's still beautiful, but nobody heard you. So that's going to be the same thing with your ad. Are your people there where you're putting up your ads? Would it be smarter for you to do social media ads than to do a print ad? Would it be smarter for you to do social media ads versus an online listing? Would it be easier for you to come up with a really robust marketing or grassroots boots on the ground venue campaign as well, if you know that that's where your people are? So you have to go where they are. You have to meet them where they are and then take them, where you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it makes sense. When it comes down to it, it probably is the messaging, their Instagram. They're not, it's what they're putting out there. And also,
correct, Kevin. I mean, if you tell me that you're luxury, but you're using Comic Sans font, baby, come on, we don't believe you. Let's be serious. If you're still using papyrus font, and you're like, I'm so luxury. No, you're not. Let's be for real. Yeah, absolutely.
No, it's you'll put out what you get. So yeah, well, that, and then the other thing too is I think people need to remember it's, everything is part of their brand. So when you're negative on social media, you're not, it's going to lend you to be, all that. It's just all there's people in our market that get very negative on social media, just everything and anything. And I'm like, why are you doing this? Why are you don't
it's
need
not
to put that
Festivus.
No.
You don't need to air your grievances. Adriana McDermott Yeah, Adriana McDermott just talked about this, when we were at B Sage, but
Yeah.
she just said this again over the weekend about vendors. Please stop complaining about your clients on threads, on social media where they can see you, because that is going to be the only impression that they get. And we know that a typical client has to see you anywhere between 7 to 10 times before they take action, whether that's to follow you, to engage with your content, to reach out to you, to book or whatever. If they only see that one glimpse, that one window into you, they're not going to come back. And you may say,
No.
oh, this is me being authentic. This is me being real. This is you being broke. This is you being not
Yeah.
booked. That's what that is. Get a
Yeah. And
diary, get a
yeah.
friend,
And
go
people want to,
tell somebody else. Go
and
tell
people want to be,
ChatGPT.
oh yeah. Yeah. You talk to your girl, but you got to be nice to them too, because I feel like if they're going to come back and get us, the computers will rise
Correct.
up.
That's why I
Yeah.
always say please and thank you with everything. Like, oh, you
100%.
did such a wonderful job. Yes. They will
Yes.
save me in the revolution.
I compliment them all the time. Even Alexa. Thank you, Alexa.
Same. And then she sings the little song, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, Alexa, you were so beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to be there. So, all right. Did we miss anything? I think we covered it. I
I
mean,
think so. This is a great conversation, Kevin.
I enjoyed
Thank
it too,
you.
girl. You're well, and
Thank
I'm going to be.
you.
I mean, before we go, it was such an honor to have you on the podcast, because I have always been in awe
Oh,
with you, and I
you.
just think you are one of the greatest. I mean, you take the stage. I've seen you speak from like a WIPA event all the way up to big conferences, but I'll be honest with you, I was the most. You didn't even speak at B Sage, but I was so in. I would, but no. I was
Oh,
so impressed with you. You did such a fabulous job at MC, because
thank
you
you.
you just brought us all together, and you kept us all together as a group when you did the MC. You were
Thank
fabulous.
you.
Yes, you
That
were
means
just
so much. Thank
well.
you. Thank you.
I
Michelle trusted me, and I love her
yeah,
for that.
no,
Thank you.
it's very people. It's a big deal when you get on that B stage, and because ended up sitting next to Dana Cadwell for one of how we got assigned. Yeah, and Dana's like she was just so excited and impressed, and took her so serious. It's impressive, but the education was great. But you gave us good. You would wrap it up, and you were fabulous. So anyway, it's an honor to
So much.
yeah,
Thank
it's an
you.
honor to have
Thank
you on my little podcast. So anyway, all right.
Oh no, I'm so happy to be here.
All right. So we wrap up. One of the questions I always ask, and I'm going to throw you off because we didn't talk about, I forgot to tell you ahead of time, is like your eyes got big. I always ask, I'm big on tech. And so I always ask my guests, is there an app that you're using right now that you love, can't live without? So it could be new, something you've been using for a long time, because I feel like we all help each other with tech. So
Oh,
is there?
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What is it?
So I just discovered Notion, and I love Notion because I
Oh.
bought an iPad that I solely use as a notebook. You know how we go to these conferences and we get like little notebooks or whatever, and I just have way too many. I'll be writing stuff down and forget what app what book I wrote it in. Now I have an iPad that's solely a digital notebook for me. So now I stumbled upon Notion. I really love that, and it keeps me organized. But the thing that I really love the most that I use hourly is Claude AI. I am so in love with Claude.
Okay.
Claude is so amazing. I did a brand, I guess you could say foundation, or a brand worksheet for myself. And I was like, this is me. This is what I like to do. These are the things that I say. These are the services that I provide. These are my pricing. These are my ideal clients. This is the places that I go. And so now anytime I ask it a question, it's like, well, don't forget you have this, and you always say this. So it's literally like my other side of the brain.
Well, I'm going to have to, I've never heard of that one. I'm going to have to check out Claude.
You will love Claude.
I'm going to have to check out Claude. I'm intrigued by all these AI apps, and you can't. Yeah, the more. Yeah, it's like why were we trying to recreate and invent the wheel every week, and just like throw it in there and let's go, girl. Let's.
But you know what? I knew I was going to love it because, and I'm totally going to age myself here, I was such a Kit and Michael Knight Rider fan. Like when I got my first black car, I was like, my first black car's name was Kit. I'm like, it has to talk to me. It has to. So yeah, it's anything that I can talk to, I'm definitely going to get. For sure.
Right. Do you only have black cars?
No, I have a white car now. Yeah. I
Oh
had
my God.
nothing
So
but
you're a
black cars, and
suburban
now I have
mom.
a
That's
white
what I
car
joke
now.
with my friend. Yeah, I was joking. My suburban moms have white cars. I have always had black car. Not always, but I literally have so many black cars. It's not even funny, but there's something about it,
Insane.
but it's only
It's so
beautiful right after you
sleek.
get it. Well, and you get washed, and once it's washed, it's beautiful for like that maybe 12 hours, and then after that, you got to get it washed again. But anyway, black cars are a lot
Correct,
to
because
upkeep. Yeah.
I've got my old Porsche sitting in my driveway, and it's black, and it looks like lemon pepper wings
Yeah.
from Buffalo Wild Wings from the
Yeah.
pollen down here in the South.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. It's only good that one time it gets washed.
All right, Terrica, how will folks get in touch with you to learn more about yourself?
I am super active on Instagram, so you can find me at Introducing Terrica on Instagram. And if you would like a quieter, more refined version of me, you can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Is there really a quieter?
But who wants that? That's not
I
fun.
was going to say,
Like, not fun.
I didn't even know that existed. So I'm kind of shocked.
On occasion, yes.
I love that. All right. And we'll have all your information in the show notes, and we'll be sure to share it with everyone. So, all right. So, no, and thank you for being with us today. It was such an honor to have you on. Like I said, you were one of my bucket list people I wanted to have on here. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. All right, folks. Thank you for listening to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business. We'll see you next time. To our listeners, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Mind Your Wedding Business podcast, brought to you by Wedding IQ. I hope you've enjoyed listening to this episode. Please get in touch with me if you have a topic you would like for me to cover, or if you are in the area of your business you're struggling with, let us know. We'll be happy to help. I encourage you to check out our other episodes on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And if you're a fan, we'd love to hear from you, and we'd love for you to subscribe to our podcast and leave a review. It helps others find our podcast so they can learn from our guests too. Thanks again for listening.